So for this video, I'm going to be discussing my December TBR, aka Wind and Truth, because that's basically the bulk of my TBR. Yeah, I'm very excited for it, but I do have some other planned books, but also I'm going to be doing a lot of mood reading potentially, because if you've seen my November wrap up, you knew that I did a whole bunch of mood reading. I kind of went all over the place. I'll have less time to do that, obviously. One, because of work. Like, December is a very busy time for me for package and mail delivery, obviously. But also, Wind and Truth is just going to take up so much time. That comes out on Friday, and right when I get the audiobook, I will be listening to it. Yeah, so that's going to take up a lot of time. It's 63 hours long. Good Lord, Sanderson. But I do have some other planned books. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So first off, surprising nobody, Wind and Truth. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, Wind and Truth, the long-awaited, well, not long-awaited, but the anticipated release of Stormlight Book 5, the sequel to Rhythm of War. Very much anticipated. Stormlight's my second favorite series, just behind A Song of Ice and Fire. I love this series. I love the characters. And where we end in book 4, oh man, book 5 is going to be very interesting. I hope it sticks the landing. I'm fairly confident just because I've given all the Stormlight books 5 stars. But I will say, you know, like Sanderson's series, like Mistborn, like that trilogy. First book was great. Second book was good. I didn't really like the third book, Hero of Ages. But you know, like Mistborn Era 2, I loved all those books. So maybe he'll stick the landing. I don't know. I hope so, because that's gonna suck if like the first 4 books are 5 stars and then like the third book is like, yeah, it was good, 3 stars. Like, no. But yeah, I'm very much anticipating that I'm gonna love this book, and my whole world is gonna be absorbed in Roshar for however long it takes me to finish it. I usually will, when I do my rereads of when I do my rereads of Stormlight, I usually bump up the audiobook to like 2 times speed, but probably with this, like it's my first time reading it, I'll probably slow it down a bit just so I know I can absorb it more at maybe like 1.5 times speed. And hopefully I'll eventually get the hardcover so I can read along with it. And also just there's pictures in there, so it's going to be a great time. But yeah, Wind and Truth is going to be like, yeah, that's December.
Forgot to get a gift.
I'm filming!
I'm trying to wrap and I forgot to get one that's under the bed.
It's not for me, is it?
It is for you.
Oh. Well, do you want me to close my eyes then?
No, it's in a box.
Oh.
Okay, you're good. Don't come out.
You just give it to me now.
No.
You just give it to me now.
No.
Give me.
You have to wait till Christmas, mister.
Give me the present!
No.
So this next book is funny because it's a book that I wanted to read in December. I got the audiobook from Libby. I had it all set up. And on December 1st, I started it. But then I quickly DNF'd it. So I had 5 DNFs in November. And now for... What do you want?
I forgot to get something for your mom, too.
I'm filming!
I'm getting the Christmas wrapping done for you. Well, not
Ozzy, you're gonna knock shit over. Oh, you already knocked a book over. God freaking damn it.
I'm sorry. I thought I was gonna come in and be coordinated and get both at once. Okay, now I'm done. Bye.
Get out! So this next book is funny because it's a book that I planned on reading in December, and I got the audiobook from Libby on December 1st, and I started it that day, but I quickly DNF'd it. And if you watched my November wrap-up, you know that I DNF'd 5 books, and I was kind of hoping that December I would start to turn things around. But this book was it was not it. I'm talking about The House in the Pines by Anna Reyes. And you know what? It was funny because I tried to avoid Goodreads. I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to pay attention to that. But I got into this book and I was just bored to tears. And it's one of those things where like the premise is really cool, but the writing and the execution of it is bad. Basically, the premise is that this woman, like her best friend, kind of just randomly dies after like in front of this random man named Frank, who, you know, even at this point of the story, we didn't really know anything about him. And her death was labeled as just like, I forget what it's called, but basically they don't know how she died, so they just labeled it as like, oh, unknown cause of death. And but she was consumed with the idea that Frank somehow killed her. And then years and years later, this other random girl just happens to be at a party and Frank is there and she also dies randomly and they don't know how she died. So she's like, okay, something's happening. So that's a kind of a cool premise, except that this book just goes freaking nowhere. And there's a lot of dreams and there's a lot of just flashbacks. I'm just like, I don't care about any of this. Get to the point. But it never did. So I DNF'd it. And then, of course, I go on Goodreads. I'm like, oh, it has a friggin' 3.1 rating. I'm like, no wonder, because it's so boring. Yeah, so I quickly DNF'd it, and I'm not looking back. But now let's talk about some books that I'm actually planning on reading in December and that I'm excited about. One of them, another Libby. Libby is coming in very hot and useful for my random mood reading. One of the books that I'm planning on getting to is Winter's Bone by Daniel Woodrell. And this was a book that I randomly found somewhere. And I know it got made into a movie with Jennifer Lawrence, but I don't really know that much about it. I think it has something to do with like this girl's family is into drugs and like there's some revenge trying to happen or something, and it takes place in the winter, I guess. I don't know, but it's a very short book. It's less than 200 pages. I'll try it. I've been waiting on the damn audiobook. It says I swear to God, it's been saying like, oh, it's available in 2 weeks. It's been saying that for like 3 weeks. What the hell? But anyway, I'm going to read it. Hopefully, you know what? It's going to come out like the same day as Stormlight. I'm like, nah. But yeah, either way, I'm going to try to get to it in December. It's going to happen. It will. Hopefully I don't fucking DNF it. My Patreon book for the month, and if you guys don't know, I do have a Patreon that you can support me there for as little as $1 a month. And every month, there's a Patreon wheel spin, and if your name wins, if you're the winner, you get to pick any book that you want me to read the following month. And the winner this time around was Kate, and I'll link her channel down below because she has a channel, Kate Coy, great channel. And she wants me to read Nosferatu by Joe Hill. And this book is interesting because I tried to read this book a long time ago. Couldn't quite get into it, but I did. I was enjoying some parts of it, but it just wasn't at the right time. And it's also interesting because I've read some Joe Hill. I've liked some, not liked some. So he's an interesting author. If you don't know, Joe Hill is actually Stephen King's son, Joe King. Joe Hill is a pen name. He's an interesting writer. I haven't loved everything that I've read by him, but this is supposed to be like his all-time best book, so I'm definitely interested to check it out and to see where it goes from there. A lot of people are joining us for the Patreon buddy read. I do have a channel open for this if you want to buddy read it with me and others. But yeah, it'll be a fun read, I'm sure. This time around, I will finish it. I'm not going to DNF it. But yeah, hopefully it's good. Yeah. And our last pick for the Ray Bradbury Book Club for December is going to be Quicker Than the Eye. And this one is kind of like a random short story collection, I believe, from the 90s. Yep, it's from 1996. Probably a lot of people have never even heard of this book, let alone have read it. I read it quite a long time ago. Like I said, Ray Bradbury is just the king of short stories. He's my favorite short story writer. I mean, George R. R. Martin is great, but as far as like just short stories, Ray Bradbury is the king, in my opinion. So I'm definitely excited for some people to check this out. It's not one of his more popular ones, obviously, like The Illustrated Man or The October Country, but I hope some of y'all will check it out with me. It's been a long time since I've read it. I don't really remember too many short stories in here, if any, but it'll be fun to revisit this one. And the last book that I'm like definitely planning on getting to is Mr. Shivers by Robert Jackson Bennett. This one will be interesting because I've read Robert Jackson's fantasy, which I've had mixed opinions on, and I just recently read in November The Company Man by Robert Jackson Bennett, which was okay. Not a terrible book, but not great. It was good. This one I think is more up my alley. I think this one's kind of more of a just horror standalone, and it's also a little bit shorter, which I think will be good. Hopefully, it's got an interesting premise of like this guy who I think murders someone, and his name is Mr. Shivers, and it's about a guy just traveling, I think in the Great Depression, and just trying to find this Mr. Shivers guy and get revenge. So that's kind of the basic premise from what I remember briefly reading something about it, but hopefully it's good. And this is actually the pick for December. If you don't know, on the Bookastromer Discord, where we have a ton of buddy reads and read-alongs happening all the time, but I also have a random number generator game where I pick a random number 1 through 100, and my Discord members get to just guess what that number is, and whoever lands the closest on it gets to pick a book for me to read the following month. And the winner this time around was Pat, one of our moderators actually on the Discord. He doesn't have any inside information, but he did get the closest, and his pick is Mr. Shivers, which will be interesting because I just read The Company Man and was kind of okay about that. So this will be my second time trying one of his standalones. And if this one's not good, I probably won't try any of his other ones. I'll just kind of stick more with his fantasy, which is kind of definitely his more popular stuff anyway. But this one I'm definitely excited to check out. I think I've got this on Audible, so going to be checking out the audiobook. I think I used to have the paperback, but maybe I got rid of it somehow or lost it. I don't know. But Mr. Shivers by Robert Jackson Bennett, I will be reading this in December. And then if you watched my November wrap-up, like I said, I did a lot of mood reading, so probably December, after I get through the giant tome of Wind and Truth, I'm going to be reading these books, but it's not that many. It's like, 4 or 5 books. Probably plan on doing some mood reading. No idea what I'm going to pick up. Maybe a random Stephen Graham Jones book. Maybe another random thriller, or just a random literary, or probably not fantasy, because I'm going to be fantasy out by Wind and Truth. But who knows? Maybe I'll get in a fantasy mood and read a bunch of fantasy. I don't know. But it'll be fun to find out. And hopefully you guys will be along with me in the journey, if that makes any kind of sense. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely let me know what you think of the books that I'm planning on reading in December. Are you also excited for Wind and Truth? Probably. Maybe not. I don't know. Definitely leave your thoughts about any of these books down in the comments below. And of course, thank you guys so much for watching. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're already subscribed, stay subscribed for more content. And Bookastromer Discord, where we've got a bunch of stuff going on. We will be having a channel open for discussion about Wind and Truth. And we're very good about not spoiling people. We use spoiler tags, so definitely a safe space to chat about Brandon Sanderson and Wind and Truth and Stormlight and all that jazz. I also have my Patreon link down below. Like I mentioned, you can support me there for as little as $1 a month. And I have my Amazon wishlist if you want to buy me any books. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a fantastic day.